From Concord University in Athens, West Virginia, this is Mountain Lion News.
Hello, and welcome to Mountain Lion News. I'm Leah Gilpin.
And I'm Corey Carvelli.
The library is setting the Concord community up with a blind date. With a book, of course. With Valentine's Day just having passed, the Concord University Library offered students the chance to find their new reading favorite through their Blind Date with a Book program. Take a look at the display the library created in the main part of the building. On the table, you can see books wrapped in Valentine's Day themed packages. Students were able to pick one of the wrapped books and open it at their convenience. The only thing students knew about the books they picked was from the description on the package, which gave just enough information to pique the reader's interest. This program took not judging a book by its cover to a new level. When it comes to what's new at the cinema,
we turn to MLN's in-house movie critic, Cameron White.
Thanks, Leah. Hello, and welcome to See You at the Cinema. I'm very glad to be back. And since I've been gone for so long, let's review some films that have come out since we last aired. Here's a stab at Knives Out. Knives Out is written and directed by Rian Johnson. It stars a prevola of beloved actors. This is a spoiler-free review. This movie is far better if you go in with no expectations of what will happen. This is a wonderful murder mystery that should be enjoyed with large groups of people, which, unlike most films, which I usually recommend you should watch alone. Get ready for lots of fun with this popcorn pleaser. I'm giving Knives Out 5 out of 5 donuts. I've got more in store since See You at the Cinema has reviewed films that have been released on Netflix. I'm also going to review films that have premiered on other streaming platforms. So, from Disney Plus, here is my review of Togo. Dog movies are more often than not cheap drivel for very, very, very young children. One exception to this rule is Balto, especially since Phil Collins blessed us with its score. Togo is the far more historically accurate retelling of those events, based on the perspective of the titular dog and his master, Leonhard Seppala, portrayed by William Dafoe. This movie has it all. Action, comedy, plenty of tears. You could say that Togo has not only exceeded the bar for what a dog movie could be. I'll go a step further and say that Togo has made the bar at this point, and the bar is held pretty high. I give Togo 5 out of 5 Defoes. That's all I have for this week. Tune in next time as I review Just Mercy and whatever else I can watch by then. I've been Cameron White, and I will see you at the cinema. Back to you, Leah and Corey.
Now it's time to take a look at what's going on in Concord sports.
joining us in the studio is MLN sports correspondent Brandon Eanes.
Spring sports are starting to get underway as postseason basketball creeps ever closer. Let's see what's going on this week in Concord sports. Nearing the end of what has been a tough season so far, the Concord men's basketball program is looking to get revenge from some close losses earlier this season in conference play, while the women, who sit at 10-6 in the Mountain East, look to finish their conference schedule strong. Both teams will try and end their seasons on the highest notes possible, with their last 3 games being on campus here in the Carter Center. Make sure to support our Mountain Lions before they head into postseason play. Concord softball has been slotted at the number 2 spot in the Southern Division of the Mountain East Conference preseason poll. They'll open up their 2020 campaign against King University on February 14th. Concord baseball pulled out a close 12-11 victory against Wingate in what was the winner-take-all matchup to close out a 3-game series. The Mountain Lions were led by pitcher Bryson Boer and junior infielder Anthony Stellan, and both received Mountain East Conference weekly accolades for their performances in the 2-1 series win. The Concord baseball program is back in action this week, February 21st against Mansfield. Both men's and women's track and field programs continue to shell out dominant performances in every event they seem to compete in, coming off multiple top 20 finishes in the VMI winter relays. They look to continue with their success, yet another successful weekend at the VMI Indoor Classic. In keeping right along with the track and field, we are fortunate enough to have the man, the myth, the legend, the bro with the flow, senior member of Concord's track and field program, and MLN's very own Corey Carvelli. How are we doing today, Corey?
Good, Brandon. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Of course it is. So Corey, how long have you competed in track and field?
This is actually my 10th year running. I started running when I was 13 in 7th grade, and yeah.
Just kind of took off from
Yeah.
there. Okay.
The rest is history.
I see what's going on. So give our little viewers a little bit of insight into what the events you run for Concord.
Okay, I was telling you earlier before the show that I'm a hurdler. I run the 110s and the 400 hurdles, and I'm also a member of the 4x400 meter relay as well.
Okay, I know the 4x400 pretty well. So when running a relay, what is something that's significant to remember that most people may not realize?
That you're not the only person out there, you know. There's 3 other people on your relay team to run with that are like relying on you, that you can rely on too. So it's really important to, you know, have that in mind because, you know, they're relying on you, you're relying on them. It's a lot of accountability, you know,
Right.
holding each other accountable because, you know, people are relying on you. It really pushes you to do your best every time.
Well, and each leg means more than the next.
Exactly.
Of course. So now most people, both inside and outside the sports world, consider running more of a punishment and a chore. And why is that not the case for you?
Well, I mean, you've been there. You've been an athlete on the football field or on the basketball court. Every time people views are like, get on the baseline, get on the goal line. It's no, that conditioning is always awful. But for us, I mean, for runners, I wouldn't say it's a punishment. It's still hard for sure. Don't get me wrong. But whereas our workouts are hard, so the race comes easy. It's something that our coach always tells us, you know, because that's the fun part. You know, we work our butts off every day, day in, day out, so we can improve and get better at our events. And we don't view it as punishment. You know, we view it as a stepping stone to get towards our goals. You know, a lot of us have. Like for me, this is my senior year, like you mentioned. I have some pretty big goals for this season, and I go into practice each day with the mindset that, all right, I'm going to get better today. It's going to hurt, it's going to be hard, but it's just something that we have to do to get better to reach the goals that we have set. So,
well, especially in track, I guess practice makes perfect takes on a whole other meaning.
Exactly. Whereas like in some sports, football or basketball, you can't fake it in track. You know, like if you put in the work, it's going to show. If you don't, like it's going to show.
For sure. Now, looking back on your 4 years here as a student athlete at Concord, what's one of the most significant lessons that you'll leave Athens knowing?
Oh gosh, the people that I've met here along the way have been just the best. You know, plain and simple. There's been several times here where I didn't think I was gonna make it, where I wanted to quit track, where I thought about where school's kind of hard. Maybe I'll just go back home. Where I've had people in my corner be like, "Hey man, you can't do it. You put way too much into it. You've put in way too much effort. You've come too far. You can't just give it up like this."
One, having that support system is always important, especially in sports.
Exactly. Yeah.
For sure. Now, and finally, for my last yet maybe most important question, what everybody watching this is wanting to know is, how long has it taken you to achieve this level of flow?
The flow, I've been growing it out for about 1.5 years now.
Okay.
But I take care of it every day. You know, I don't wash it every day, but I water it every day, shower every day. That self-care is really important, you know?
Of course. That's what I'm saying. I met you when you had short hair, so it's been a long time coming. But thank you, Corey, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Again, thank you for having me on here.
That's all we have for sports this week. Tune in next week as we sit down with the new head coach of Concord football, Dave Walker, as he finishes on what has been an impressive first recruiting cycle and see what he has in store to help rebuild the Mountain Lion football program.
Thanks, Brandon. Coming up after the break, we have a new Campus Connections.
And Concord had its annual Groundhog Day breakfast. More on this when we come back.
Hey there, this is Gabe Dunn, and here is your Campus Connection. Sigma Tau Gamma will be having a Dollars for Dukes clothing drive, February 10th through 14th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Beasley Student Center. The Academic and Career Department will be having a plagiarism workshop Tuesday, February 18th, and Wednesday, February 19th, in the stateroom at the Beasley Student Center. Alpha Sigma Tau will be having a Valentine's Day gift sale, Friday, February 14th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., ground floor lobby at the Beasley Student Center. And the men's and women's track team will be going to Virginia Military Institute for the VMI Indoor Classic, all day, Friday, February 14th. This has been your Campus Connection.
And now, here's Austin Harmon with This Day in History.
Hello, and welcome back to This Day in History. My name is Austin Harmon, and on this segment, we take a look at events that happened on this day, February 16th, in history. So, let's begin.
In 1959, Fidel Castro is sworn in as Prime Minister of Cuba. Castro led a guerrilla campaign against the Cuban dictator Fulgencio Batista, the Cuban dictator in the year 1953, and eventually into exile. Castro ruled over Cuba for nearly 50 years and was the leader of the only communist country in the Western Hemisphere. Tension between the U.S. and Cuba soon followed after Castro's ascension to power, eventually leading to the Cuban Missile Crisis in October 1962. It ended some 13 days later after the Soviet Union agreed to move the weapons in exchange for a U.S. pledge to not invade Cuba. After the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, Castro courted European and Canadian investments in tourism to make up for the lost aid, and eventually stepped down in February 2008. Castro died on November 25, 2016, at the age of 90. And finally, in 1984, Bill Johnson becomes the first American man to win an Olympic gold medal in downhill skiing. Long dominated by European athletes, Johnson beat Switzerland's Peter Müller by 27 seconds and would go on to win 2 more World Cup races that season. However, after his newly found fame, Johnson started living a lavish, hard-partying lifestyle and stopped winning races, and was left off the U.S. ski team for the Olympic Games in Calgary. At the age of 40, Johnson attempted to stage a comeback and qualify for the U.S. ski team for the 2002 Olympics in Salt Lake City, but on March 2002, suffered a devastating crash at the U.S. Alpine Championships at the Big Mountain Resort near Whitefish, Montana, that left him unable to continue the sport he loved. He passed away on January 21, 2016, at the age of 55.
And that is all the time we have for This Day in History. Until next time, I'm Austin Harmon. Back to you, Leia.
Thank you, Austin. Concord Charlie is calling for 6 more weeks of winter as we welcome back Concord University's 31st Groundhog's Day breakfast. Concord President Kendra Bogus relayed the message from the university's famed weather prognosticator, saying that Groundhog Charlie saw his shadow. Joining Concord Charlie in the spotlight this year was 2020 Grand Groundhog Watcher Dave Walker. As the Mountain Lions' new head football coach, Walker came to campus from Martinsburg High School in Martinsburg, West Virginia, where he built the Bulldogs into one of the most successful programs in the entire history of high school football in the state, claiming his 4th consecutive Class AAA state championship in 2019. Walker led Martinsburg to 56 straight wins, the 2nd longest active winning streak in the entire country, before assuming the head coach role at Concord. Under his leadership at Martinsburg, the Bulldogs have won a total of 8 state championships while playing in a total of 12 state championship games since 2001. Walker explained why the role of leading the Mountain Lions appealed to him.
We got some work to do, as you know, and we're going to get busy and we're going to work. But I have high expectations for this fall. I think we have good guys here. They just need to be developed. And I think we bring in some good guys to go with it. I think we can be very, very competitive in the first year. That's my goal.
What a fascinating story.
Oh, yeah.
It's very interesting that many state championships. It's a lot.
That is quite a bit, actually, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were actually one of the best football teams in the country this year. Very fascinating to watch.
wow.
Very exciting to watch, for sure.
Well, that's all we have time for this week's MLN News. I'm Leia Gilpin.
And I'm Corey Carvelli. We'll see you in 2 weeks.